I was put in school isolation booth more than 240 times. What the fuck? A girl who tried to kill herself after spending months in an isolation booth at school has said she felt alone, trapped, and no one seemed to care. Yeah, I can imagine months. This is like a common thing. This happened. Well, I don't know how common it is, but this happens. This does fucking happen. I know someone personally who was in isolation a lot, and I only know because I was in isolation a lot. But I was like, I'd have like a week for doing something wrong or something in there that I shouldn't have done. Yeah, fair enough. I shouldn't have done some of the stuff I did. Some of the stuff was their fault. A lot of the stuff was my fault, but I'm not going into that part. That's a whole different video in of itself. But I knew a guy that was literally in there months on end. They wouldn't let him out. It was basically people make jokes of school's like a prison, but this was literally like a prison. He was stuck in a room. He couldn't go out for break or lunch unless he had finished everything, which seems like technically just a detention. Detention's only meant to last up to half an hour. Unless it's obviously, well, if it's break, then they can take the whole break. But detentions can only last about half an hour, and the school lunch was an hour. He was kept in there the whole lunch. It's common. The teenager who has autism had no direct teaching and ate her lunch in the room away from friends. What the fuck? Right, so I don't know how like severe the autism was, but that doesn't matter. She obviously, autistic people have bad social skills. She should be put in a social setting to practice her social skills. It's one thing when you take it away from like just any other student, but especially someone who already has bad social skills. That's just even more fucked up. I wouldn't be able to help myself but speak out against it if I was in the school. If I was in isolation and saw this, I'd be like, you you do know this is really badly affecting her life. You're keeping her in here away from socializing, and you may be thinking, oh, you wouldn't do that. No, I did it with the guy that was like in isolation for months. I said to the teachers there, I was like, this is really messed up that you're keeping him in it. I just got shrugged off, and they're like, don't tell me how to teach. You're just a kid. Fair enough, but it's a moral. I don't fucking care. It's an immoral thing to do. Her mother said for months she was unaware of what was happening to her daughter and called on the government to improve guidance for schools. The mother didn't even know. That's insane. As if the mother didn't even. The fact you're gonna do something like this and then not even tell the parents what you're doing, that's fucked up. The parent couldn't speak out about it, and the school must have known what they were doing. They probably knew that the parent wouldn't agree with it. And that's why they didn't tell them. Schools are fucking cunts, and I'll tell you that for a fucking fact. As long as they look good, as long as their reports look good, they don't care. They don't care about the students, as long as their reports look good, as long as they have a nice Ofsted report. The Department of Education says pupil welfare must always be put first. Then fucking put it first, you bitch. Its guidelines said children should be in isolation for no longer than is necessary. I don't know about you, but last time I checked, um, more a few months is more than necessary. It doesn't state what she did, but anything that's bad enough to keep you in isolation for a few months is bad enough to move you into a different school. In a letter to the BBC's Victoria Derbyshire programme, the teenager who we are calling Sophie said, I decided I'd rather die than be in isolation because of the mood it left me in. I felt alone and trapped at school for such a long time that I felt as though it would be best as no one cared anyway. Yeah, I can imagine. Shit like this causes disorders. Putting someone away from a social setting for long enough will cause them to be depressed. It will cause them to get anxiety. It will cause them multiple issues that will be life changing. It's so fucked that the parent also didn't have a say in it. It shouldn't even be allowed in general, even if the parent said, yeah, I want this. I which I doubt she would. It shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be legal. It's literally locking someone away from socializing. And oh well, she can go meet up with friends outside of school. How the fuck is she meant to make friends when she's in isolation every fucking day she's there? Because I guarantee you, the other friends that she had, they probably went and got new friends that were in the school. Do you wanna know why? Because they couldn't talk to her, because she was in isolation and couldn't socialize with her other friends, with the new friends. She was basically barred from having a social life. It's absolutely fucked up. It's fucking immoral. The school shouldn't be able to get away with this. They should have to pay the student, not like the mother, a lot of fucking money for what they did. They should be sued. They should literally be sued. This girl tried to kill herself because of this school, and this school just gets a slap on the wrist. What the fuck? And I guarantee you, all the school cares about is, oh no, this is going to affect our reputation on our report. Oh fuck, we need to do something about this. Her mother, Phil- her mother Philippa estimates that her daughter was placed in an isolation booth at her secondary school more than 240 times in total, beginning in year 7, but becoming more frequent in years 10 and 11. This school just seemed to hate her. This school genuinely just seemed to despise this girl. I don't know what she did, but at the start of year 7, I know what year 7s are like at the start. Year 7s at the start are fucking terrified of everything. They're new there. They don't want to fuck with anybody. They want to just like get through and get used to everything. What could she have done that was so bad that wasn't justifying getting her into a different school, but was justifying putting her in isolation for months in year 7? The 16-year-olds spent every school day from mid-January to March this year in the room, the family say. I spent a lot of time in isolation, and if it was a few days, I was fine with it. It was nice. The way it was set up, it was kind of like this, but there was cubicles, there was a bit of a bigger space, and the teacher couldn't see you, meaning you could go to sleep or something. You could go on your phone, and the teacher wouldn't see you. You'd be fine. So it wasn't that bad. It would get boring after a few days though, and you'd be like, this is pretty shitty. What the fuck? Your mind starts racing. Your mind starts coming up with really bad ideas. And some people's minds, when they're put in this situation, their minds go to dark places, just like this girl's mind clearly did. And by the way, let me just say, what the fuck? These cubicles are tiny. Like, I don't even think I could. My arms would be probably touching the side. She explained, the room has 6 booths, with a small workspace inside, so you could not see other people. You have to sit in silence and be escorted to the toilet, which is embarrassing. Yeah, I can imagine. She's, what, 15 years old? 14, 15 through this? And she has to be escorted to the toilet. Why? That's a terrible thing. I'm, I'm imagining she was probably getting like this was like a few weeks, about 3 weeks out of that, she had to deal with a period. Each time she had to bring a teacher with her when she was sorting that out. That must be so embarrassing. On one occasion, Sophie said, I begged the teachers to ring my mom as I didn't want to be alone anymore. They refused and took my phone away, leaving me and a teacher I didn't know in an enclosed room. That's messed up. Like, this teacher, thankfully, was a normal person and didn't do anything. a, a reason I feel like schools should give students mobile phones and shouldn't take it away is that yeah, teachers that have the degree to go teaching and stuff, but some of those teachers are fucking creeps. Some of those teachers are creeps. I'm not gonna lie, it is mainly men that sexually assault, at least reportedly. Women don't normally get reported for that shit because men are normally more sexual than women. That's just I'm not gonna say I have data to back it up, but from what I can tell, we are more we are more sexually interested than women most of the time. We are more sexually motivated than women. And so even then though, even it could have been a female teacher, male or female teacher, it doesn't fucking matter. It, there could they could be creeps, and especially when she doesn't even know the teacher. and she has no way of contacting anyone in was it a locked room? No, an enclosed room, meaning that that teacher could have done anything if he or she wanted to, and she would have had no ways of doing anything until it was over, which is fucking disgusting. Schools who take mobile phones away from students, I get why they do it, but I disagree with it massively. After she tried to take her own life, Sophie returned to school but said she would dread each day when she was again placed in isolation. I would oft I would often have panic attacks and feel claustrophobic, she explained. I feel as though isolation rooms should be banned. They tend to make students feel isolated and helpless, knocking their self-esteem. Due to the amount of stress and trauma throughout school, I now suffer with depression and anxiety. That's fucking appalling. That is absolutely fucking appalling. That genuinely pisses me off. The fact that you can the fact that this school caused this girl life changing disorders and gets away with it with a slap on the wrist, just that was a bad thing, and we're gonna just put your score down a few, What? That's fucking disgusting. That's genuinely disgusting. There needs to be more to do about this. I don't agree this should be banned. Isolation rooms shouldn't be used in moderation. A day should be fine. A week she should be fine. 2 weeks maybe she'd be fine. Months. What the fuck? 2 weeks is out of push. That's if you do something terrible. As far as I can tell from reading this, she hasn't fucking done anything. Sophie, voiced by voice actor. Okay, let's watch this.
During year 7, I was bullied by my peers. Teachers placed me in isolation. This made me feel alone. During years 7 to 9, I was placed there whenever they felt necessary, which was at least one lesson a day or days at a time. I decided I'd rather die than be in isolation because of the mood it left me in. I felt alone and trapped at school. For such a long time, I felt as though it would be best as no one seemed to care anyway. I begged the teachers.
I can imagine some like she clearly suffers with depression, and I don't personally have depression, but from my experience of talking to people with depression, they feel like no one cares. They feel like they're helpless. They're stuck. They just like can't do anything about the bad situation they're in. And to especially when you have that mindset, and it's basically being validated by the fact of no one's giving a fuck, and they're just like, no, do this, do that. Like you don't deserve to. From her standpoint, it must have looked like, oh, I don't deserve to socialize. I don't deserve to be with the other kids. Uh, Why? Because I don't know. Maybe she did something weird or something that would be, you know, deemed not socially acceptable. You wanna know what you do with that? You don't put her in isolation. You take her out the class. You go, maybe don't do that. It's not really that good of a thing. Keep telling her, and she's still, maybe a detention if it gets too far out of line and it's actually really bad. But I doubt she did anything that was warranting months of ISS.
To ring my mum as I didn't want to be alone anymore. They then refused and took my phone away, leaving me and the teacher I didn't know in an enclosed room. The room has 6 booths with a small workspace and side.
Yeah, this is what the one in my school looked like. It was like this, and then the teachers thing was like off to the side here. So let's say I was sat there, the teachers thing was off to the side here, so they couldn't see me, so I could go to sleep or like do anything. So mine was fine because the teachers couldn't see what you were doing, so you could go on your phone or anything because they didn't really take it off you.
You cannot see other people. You have to sit in silence and be escorted to the toilet, which is embarrassing. That day, I took an overdose. I didn't want to live anymore. I then spent a few days in hospital, then a week at home. After I returned to school, there onwards things got worse. From there, the exclusions started. I was dreading each day as I would often have panic attacks and feel claustrophobic. I feel as though isolation rooms should be banned. as they tend to make students feel isolated and helpless, knocking their self esteem. Due to the amount of stress and trauma throughout school, I now suffer with depression and anxiety.
Oh god, that was an accent. Absolutely disgusting. According to BBC investigation last year, more than 200 pupils spent at least 5 straight days in isolation booths. That's a lot less than I thought. I wasn't even that bad of a kid. What the fuck? I had a lot of 5 days straight in isolation. That's a lot less than I thought. I thought it'd be in the thousands. Fucking hell. My school must have just been strict. And more than 5,000 children with special educational needs also attended isolation rooms at some stage. Yeah, I get where they're coming from. Fair enough, they made it something sometimes that it does warrant their style special needs, but not everything is just like gone out of the realms of possibilities to put them in isolation. So I'm guessing, so sometimes it is necessary, try talk to them first if it's not the worst thing and can be forgotten pretty quickly. Government guidance in England says schools are free to decide how long people should be kept in isolation, but they should be there no longer than is necessary. Well, who decides how long is necessary? Because by this it seems the schools. That's fucked. So you're fucking saying someone who has done nothing wrong could be, put in isolation every day since from year 7 to year 11, every fucking day. All 4 years of secondary, they could every day of the 4 years in secondary, they could be put in isolation if they wanted to. And the schools, well, it's not illegal. They get off scot fucking free. They just get off free. They're fine. Their reputation might be hurt if it goes out public. And then what after it's hurt? Oh, goes up, and then the fine. And this person, after those 4 years, is still, after like 2 years, that school's got the reputation up. They're fine again. They're at the same level. That other student had to suffer 4 years and suffer for the rest of their life because now they've got anxiety, depression, other fucking shit that you can get from it, and it's absolute bullshit. Probably behind socially. They probably can't socialize properly from being isolated so fucking much, and they'll be able to make friends through school. They'll probably be lonely if they even get through the 4 years, because by the end of it, they'd probably fucking kill themselves. I know if I had to spend just months in isolation, I wouldn't kill myself, but I'd definitely probably get depression. The guidelines also say that in order for isolation to be lawful as a punishment, it should be reasonable in all circumstances, and factors such as special educational needs should be taken into account. Yes, there should be. Clearly, this girl's um, special needs weren't taken into account, or she was unlawfully punished, which in that case, then she should definitely sue. Schools do not need to record a use or report to parents that their child has been sent to isolation, although many do. They fucking should. That should be by law. That should be by law they have to do that. That's fucking appalling. This is all appalling. I know I'm saying the word a lot, but it's appalling. It's all appalling. It's fucking disgusting. And it genuinely makes me want to throw up at the fact that there's no proper regulations for this basically corporal punishment. The school behaviour expert Tom Bennett, who has advised the government, has said isolation rooms can be effective in tackling disruption in classrooms and preventing fixed term exclusions. Yeah, not for fucking months, though, you fucking imbecile. Maybe, put them in there for a week. Not even that, a few days. More students will be like, I don't want to go back there again. Should probably be on better behaviour. When you're alone with an adult with a class of 25 pupils, it only takes two people to really persistently, willfully misbehave for that lesson to be completely detonated, he told the BBC in November. Well, it can take one person. I was a terrible student. I made a lot of jokes. I, I'm not going to lie in that part. I was a dickhead to the teachers in class. Not, well, to one of the teachers, I was definitely a dickhead. She was a dick to me, but I see why. I was a bad student in my last school, but you know, oh no, but that's not a good enough excuse for her situation. The family say they understand the need for isolation booths for short spots of time. Exactly. Philippa had told the Victoria Derbyshire program Sophie was now a completely different child. Exactly. It's fucking life changing. And this school gets away scot fucking free. Sophie has selective mutism. She did not speak until the age of 8, as well as autism, and can be defiant and disobedient, her mother said. But this was all part of her diagnosis, which, as it says, for a lawful isolation, should be took into account. She said as a result of her communication had regressed, being isolated from her friends made her become more internal, stop talking, stop communicating. Yeah, especially when she has selective mutism. I can imagine that would definitely make her not want to talk to anyone. Because you know why? She's not used to socializing because she's not in a social setting. People should be in social settings. We're meant to be in social settings. Introverted people. I'm personally, well, I'm kind of on a debate of that with myself. Because I like socializing, but only with people that I know alright. But I get to know people alright pretty fast. It's basically, whether even if you're you could be the most introverted person in the world, you still want some form of human contact. You still want some form of like human social. You still want to socialize to some extent. Everyone needs and wants to socialize to an extent. Um, but the school did not make her aware of the letter at the time, she said. When she discovered that Sophie had been in isolation booths by now in year 11 at school, she said she felt traumatized. I can't even begin to explain how it makes you feel knowing every day I sent her into school and she felt that alone that she wanted to take her own life. The family solicitors have written to the government demanding action, improvements to the the isolation guidelines. Philippa said she understood the use of isolation booths in certain instances, but that it is not acceptable to use them as an ongoing punishment. It's causing severe mental health problems. Schools should be held responsible. Yes, they fucking should. This that really upsets me. That also pisses me off. The fact this girl now suffers with anxiety and depression because this fucking school can't hire good enough fucking teachers to take care of students. If you can't take care of students with special needs, then don't bring in students with special needs if you can't handle that. You are allowed to deny special needs student to come to your school if you can't handle that, which seems like a dick move to do, but if they can't handle that, it's better than leaving her in isolation for months on fucking end. What the fuck? I'd rather hire better teachers or don't let people with special needs that you can't handle into the school. Uh, Whatever school this is, you should be shut down and sued for a lot of fucking money. And all the therapy bills that this girl gets, I don't think therapy is free in the UK. I'm not too sure about that. But if it's not, you should be paying the fucking bills for that. That's a fact. Because if it's not free, that's going to be costing them hundreds, if not thousands, of pounds. Maybe putting the mother in debt if she's not that financially secure, or maybe not letting the student get therapy at all, which is then worsening the problems that this school gave her. So the school should be responsible for giving this girl therapy, or at least paying the therapy bills and shit like that. And because as far as I can see, this school got no repercussion. Nothing happened to this school. The school got a slap on the wrist, a bad score rating for this year, and what? A year or two, they'll be fine. A year or two, she'll still be suffering with anxiety and depression. Do you know how? I don't know how much depression. I know how much depression can fuck with someone, but yeah, depression especially can fuck with someone so much. It's literally life threatening. It's life ruining. Anxiety can be life ruining, and I'm guessing she's got really bad anxiety, especially really bad social anxiety. She already has autism. On top of that really bad social anxiety, No wonder she's going to be having panic attacks every day. I know a lot of people with anxiety. I have anxiety, but I know a lot of people with anxiety that like a lot worse than mine, and they can have panic attacks like near enough daily. And this girl's is probably worse than theirs. She's going to be having multiple panic attacks daily from what seems to from just by living a normal life. She won't be able to live a normal life without having constant panic attacks. Like, and panic attacks aren't fun. They're not fun at all for most people. Some people like having panic attacks, a very small amount of people, but for most people, it's not fun for them. And I guarantee for this girl, it probably isn't fun for her. So I'm going to say this right now: the school should be shut down and sued. The school should be responsible for paying for any therapy, any medical bills. No, this is the UK. Anything that is towards her anxiety, depression, the school should have to pay for. The school should be held responsible, fined, sued, and shut down. This school doesn't seem like a safe place for students. If I was a parent, this I wouldn't even send my kid to this school as a last resort. I'd rather my kid go without education than come here. If I was a parent, if they couldn't get into any school, then I wouldn't make them come here. Like that's how bad this is. Like if I had a kid, I would rather them get no education than get an education here. That's how fucked this school seems to me. I'm I'm speechless. I'm appalled and just disappointed in the UK in general. I'm disappointed in the UK a lot. I don't like this country. I don't like the UK. I don't like England. I don't like anywhere, to be honest. But I'm just disappointed in the government. I'm always disappointed in the government. The government can be pretty shitty for the most part. Not all of it. Some of it's alright, but they're pretty shitty. Some organisations of the government are alright, but more like most of them are pretty shitty. And I'm just I can't believe that the school gets away scot free after causing this fucking girl anxiety and depression for what could be her whole life. And from what it seems, she doesn't even want to live her whole life. She might not even get through it. This girl, I hate to say it, she's probably gonna kill herself. With how bad her depression seems, without the proper therapy, she probably is gonna kill herself. This school should not be allowed to still operate. If anyone knows what school this is, please tell me. I don't know if it said in this article, but if anyone knows what school this is, please tell people. If anyone knows this girl, I send my condolences to her because I feel bad for her. I feel bad for the mother. The sad thing is, probably no one knows this girl because she hasn't been able to have a. She hasn't had the chance to have a social life. This is like the school are literally bullying this girl. They're using authority to bully this girl. What fucking pricks this school is.